Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
I'm Carol Massar, along with Tim Stanovic. Let's get to some stocks on the move this past week. For that, we're joined by Bloomberg News cross-asset reporter Emily Garfeo, joining us here in studio. Where should we begin? This has been an interesting week.
This has been a really interesting week. And I guess we'll start with Amazon, because obviously tech was in focus this week. A lot of volatility. Amazon specifically was down for the last 4 straight trading sessions. It finished the week down 12%. And then today, the company announced plans to spend $200 billion this year on data centers, chips, and other equipment. And like we've seen with other companies, Microsoft and Alphabet, in recent days, these companies that are now saying we're going to spend a lot on AI, before, investors were cheering that, and now we're seeing equity investors not liking that news, bringing up the fact that when are we going to see a return on this spending? But really interesting to watch, because the markets did end, higher today, but Amazon did not recover. It closed down Friday. It was down almost 6% just on Friday alone, but then again, closing 12% down on the week.
Andy Jassy, the CEO of Amazon, he's very optimistic.
Right.
He says that most of that spending will be for AI workloads. He's the guy behind AWS.
Their cloud.
The cloud. I mean, that's why he got this job, is running the whole company. But like you said, investors want to know when they're going to start seeing the payoff. $141 billion is what analysts thought it would be.
Right.
60 billion.
But I feel like
that's a lot of money.
So much of the commentary that we've heard, even Mark Mahaney, like these people are spending because they have to spend big, right? The demand is there. And so if they don't, you risk potentially falling behind in this AI kind of arms race. I don't even know if you should call it that. But let's go to Tapestry. So we go from something, a lot of tech, AI, to leather goods.
Yeah, something rooted in reality, something we can touch and feel, a leather bag. So Tapestry is the parent of Coach. This is ticker TPR. It was up 19% on the week, one of the best performers in the S&P 500. And they adjusted their earnings per share guidance for the full year. Net sales were up 14% year over year in their recent earnings. The company also said they acquired 3.7 million new customers globally in the second quarter.
Wow.
We had a great piece at Bloomberg News about how Gen-Z, this was a couple months ago, but Gen Z is really into Coach bags.
They've had quite a revival,
like a
right?
Y2K revival, so people want to buy these.
Do we often hear of apparel companies or fashion companies talking about number of customers they've acquired? Like, I don't know,
what does that mean?
It sounds very tech.
I don't know. It was in the additional comments from the company. It wasn't like an earnings metric.
It's an interesting metric to hear from a company like this, because it's very does it mean they're filling out, when you go to a website to do some online shopping, you're like, okay, get 15% off, put in your email, and then you put in your email, they're like, oh, actually, you need to put in your phone number too. And then I'm like,
I do think companies are increasingly tracking, is this a return customer? Is this a new customer? Is this a new demographic that we're reaching? I do think, listen, they're collecting so much data on us. It's like crazy. We should get free stuff for all this information that they're getting. All right, so that was an interesting one. Let's go to Coinbase.
Okay, finally, Coinbase, ticker Coin. It was down 15% on the week. We did see a little bit of a recovery, at least on Friday. But this is a cryptocurrency exchange, so it's very tied to what crypto markets are doing. It was falling for 3 straight weeks almost. It was up 13% on Friday, but still down 15% on the week. Coinbase has earnings next week. So a lot of focus there on just how much of the crypto, what we call a crypto winter, the crypto downturn is going to impact Coinbase. The analysts are expecting that they'll have their first revenue drop since 2023. It's been rough for crypto. Again, there was a little bit of a rally on Friday, but right now Bitcoin is down about 45% from its peak, nearly erasing all of the losses since Trump was elected. He was really supposed to support this industry, and it seemed like he was really good for prices at first. But in recent weeks, we've seen that rapidly change.
What a wild trade this week. I want to throw one in, if I can, Hims & Hers Health, which is actually down 15% for the week overall. But what we're seeing right now in the aftermarket is a dip lower, down about 9%. Some headlines crossed after the close today. FDA taking action to combat copycat weight loss drugs, so citing Hims & Hers and other compounding pharmacies, and the FDA to combat misleading direct-to-consumer advertising. So again, taking some action versus non-FDA approved GLP-1 drugs.
Yeah, Novo Nordisk warned this week that Hims & Hers compounded semaglutide pill, could pose patients safety risk. Hims & Hers confirmed it would enable providers to prescribe the needle-free weight loss option to its specialty telehealth platform on Thursday. I was surprised to hear the news earlier this week that Hims & Hers would be doing this, because
you brought this question up as soon as you heard it.
Because there's not a shortage anymore, so you can't compound medicines that are patented anymore, according to FDA regulations, because if there's not a shortage.
All right.
You can do it if there's a shortage. It's a loophole.
So it was already down on the week, but taking another leg down after market. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been a busy week. Have a good weekend.
There's been a lot this week.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.